After our climactic battle in the hills, we returned to Bonnie Springs and then we just kind of wandered around for a while. Our wandering took us to West Side and I think I hear some commotion over at the diner, so let's go check and see what that is all about. We enter the diner and come across an altercation. Some suited men want another suited man to follow them, but him and his bodyguards are not having it. And neither is Mac, the diner owner.
Hey, fancy man, don't hassle my customers. This man is well paid and he did something wrong to you. Don't deal with it in my bar.
The conversation reaches an impasse and they all start firing. Mac dies and the quest fails. I guess I should intervene. We enter the diner slightly in the past, come across an altercation where the suited men blah blah blah. We shoot and ask what all this is about. The man in the suit that the other suited men wanted to go with them is Mr. Smith. With a little persuasion, Mr. Smith tells us that he robbed the casino that he used to work for. A casino in New Reno owned by the New Reno mobster, Mr. Cianci. And the men that lie dead on the floor, they wanted to take him back with them so that he could face the consequences of his actions. Mr. Smith asked us to go to McCarran to get help as Mr. Cianci is a wanted NCR terrorist. But of course, when we get there, the NCR can't help because of the usual bureaucratic bullshit. We do, however, enlist the aid of a rogue NCR soldier who has her own issues with Cianci. She says that she would need to gather some things and tells us to go meet her at Max, and we can figure out what to do from there. But of course, as we return to Max, it has been attacked in the meantime by Mr. Cianci's men, and they have kidnapped Mr. Smith. We investigate Mr. Smith's quarters and then we go ask the local mob boss Kingsley if he knows anything.
Watch out!
Whoa!
Are companions murdering random people at dingy establishments like a cell block psycho stable? This happened the last time as well, and now Emma has gone and done and killed Kingsley, who we need to talk to. Okay, I reloaded and then she only killed a random gambler, which no one cares about, and we can still talk to Kingsley. He is more than happy to help us get rid of the competition and tells us to go scope out Mr. Cianci's local muscle, Clarence. We infiltrate Clarence's hideout by sneaking past one of his guards and pickpocketing the key and entering the sewer. However, inside the sewer we get snooze-gassed by Clarence and his gang and pass out.
Well, what have we here? Some stupid thug thinks he can steal from me?
None of this shit fucking matters. Just kill the bitch, yeah?
After some torture, we are then sold as a slave and have to work at a, prostitute house thing.
Listen here, meat. We ain't got much men working here, except Rico. I don't know who the fuck you are, and I don't care. You work for me now. You disrespect me or anyone here, that collar blows. Your work becomes shitty, the collar blows. You got me, asshat? Now stop wasting my time and get the fuck to work.
This part is cool. It plays kinda like a little Hitman level. We gotta go figure out how to get the bomb collar off and also find a key that unlocks the door. There are several exits and several ways to get through the exits. The way I did it was that I immediately pickpocketed the guy we just told to for both the key to the door and to the collar. And then I snuck up to Dimitri's office, the big bad boss man, took him out and took out his guards. And then I
Had enough?
fairly covertly took everyone out and escaped through the front door.
I've got you now. now.
Who's there? Like that? What was that? Like that?
I should mention that the guy we talked to at the beginning is Sport, and he's actually a character that was referenced in Home on the Wastes. The mysterious man in Home on the Wastes that lured young women to Freeside was working with Sport and that club that they lured people to. While it didn't exactly enslave women, it just kidnapped them long enough to get them hooked on drugs and enslaved them through the needle. It is still kind of connected to this club, and I guess Sport got a job here after we, I don't know, made the other club stop working or something. It's a really cool callback, and I assume that it can be very easily missed, as the man in the Home on the Waste is actually not supposed to be killed by Cazador spawned in by a separate mod, and therefore we're not supposed to find the note on his body that mentions Sport.
It's a bit of a deep cut reference, and I really appreciate things like these.
Right, so after turning all of Dimitri's men into giblets, we escape the secret sex club thing that's apparently in the back of a liquor store, and then we make our way back to Clarence's hideout. There is no Clarence here, but we do find a terminal and learn that Emma, the soldier that was helping us out, has been sold to the Legion and is being taken to Cottonwood Cove to be ferried into Legion territory proper. We of course rush to Cottonwood Cove, where we find Emma fighting off her captors. A quick gunfight and disabling a bomb collar later, and our team is once again back together. A thing I really like about Emma is that she does not use fantasy guns. She picks up guns from dead enemies, and she seems to pick up ammo and use that ammo as well. And she will call out for more ammo and start using melee weapons if there isn't any. This seemingly little thing actually elevates her as a character a whole lot, because it makes her as real as Neptune, since she's kind of plays by the same rules. I say kinda because she has plot armor and cannot die despite the game being on hardcore mode. Which is for the best really, since she gets herself in a lot of bad situations, and if we were playing with Home on the Waste rules, she would have been a goner the first time anyone opened fire. Sometime before we were ambushed by Clarence, we learned about a person who might know something, a Dr. Murphy who apparently got himself in some trouble at the Gomorrah. So we need to go talk to him at the Gomorrah, but Neptune is not much like there. So we're gonna have to put on some disguises and infiltrate the place.
And yeah, that did not work at all. Let's start blasting.
We confront Emil, the guy that tortured us, and with the help of a turncoat Gomorrah named Donnie, we kill him and a couple of goons that manage to escape the secret sex club, as well as the unit operating the sex trafficking ring that supplies the club. I do not think I ever found out what actually happened to the guy that we were supposed to track down inside Gomorrah, but outside the casino, Clarence confronted us and then ran off, and before we had a chance to go back in and look for the lead, a man named Claude approached us
and told us that Mr. Granin wants an audience.
Thinking that a mobster naturally must know more about another competing mobster than some doctor, we decided to give up the search for that doctor guy and headed over to Freeside to speak with Granin instead. Granin asked us here because he figured we might work for another family, because no one is dumb enough to take on a mob boss without being, involved with the mob. Except us. We are doing this for Emma kind of, and
also to get it out of our quest log.
The magically Russian mobster gives us the skinny Yancy. He kinda popped out of nowhere and his origin is unknown, and he has taken over New Reno and he has ties to the NCR, which has now made him untouchable, and he is currently setting up shop in New Vegas as we gathered from Clarence's association with him and the sex club. Yeah, he's definitely a pre-war ghoul businessman with a greater plan than to just make money and be a mobster.
That's definitely gonna be the twist.
Greetings, meatbag. By order of Mr. Sansi, you have been sentenced to immediate liquidation. Thank you for your cooperation, and have a nice day.
Alright, we survive an assassination attempt, and then we team up with Granon's men to take down one of Cianci's drug labs in the area. This is apparently how he took over New Reno. He manufactured some fucked up drug and basically forced people to be his slave via this drug, or they would die from the withdrawal symptoms. We make our way back from the drug lab, survive another assassination attempt, and interrogate the survivors from the drug lab. Talk to Mr. Grenon's half-Russian, half-German son.
So you are the one father wants to take care of this? You?
And go recruit a couple of mechanics for, I don't know, something. We survive more assassination attempts. Tell the mechanics we're definitely gonna send some men to keep an eye out on their shop so their rivals don't steal their shit while they're off working for us, and then we head back to the Granin hideout. On the way back we ran into some weirdo. I'm sure he won't be back. And at the hideout, Granin lets us know that Cianci is attempting to forge relations with a cult that operate out of a compound somewhere in outer Vegas. And we're of course sent there to sway the cult to work with Mr. Granin instead, and make Cianci's takeover just a little bit harder. And oh, we of course also survive another assassination attempt on the way there. We agree to help the cult out in exchange for their allegiance to Mr. Granin, and that involves helping a recruiter in outer Vegas get rid of a detective that's trying to track him down, and of course survive another assassination attempt. We also need to kill an old guy and his family because the daughter is a member of the cult, and there is a thing about severing ties with the cult in their tenants. But in actuality they want the old man dead because he's snooping around the cult compound and asking questions about his daughter. The obvious and shitty thing to do that you kind of, is supposed to feel like you're supposed to do is to kill the old man, but you can actually save the daughter and convince them to go into hiding and then lie about them being dead, which is what I did. We then track down a shipment of contaminated psycho that is giving people heart attacks, and of course also survive another assassination attempt. And with the recruitment situation and the snitch situation and the shipment situation taken care of, Kane and his cult members trust us enough to break their agreement with Cianci
And work with Granin instead.
We head back to Granin and it's time for the final assault on Cianci's compound. We just have to survive another assassination attempt by the Beatles and convince Kingsley, a mobster we dealt with earlier, to sell out Cianci in exchange for the keys to the sex slave club that we were briefly stuck in a while back.
To which he naturally agrees because bad people are nothing if not opportunistic in this story, which makes sense.
Cianci is holed up at the Overlook Hotel with an actual army, and we head there and assault it with Granin's men. After a brutal fight, we make it to the hotel and into it, and after an even more intense fight inside, we finally confront Cianci.
He is actually a pre-war ghoul businessman with a big master plan. Fucking called it.
So you're the one who's been running around my compound cracking skulls and taking names.
Turns out that the master plan also involves anticipating that we would burst into the room like this, so he has an ambush prepared. Forced to our knees, Cianci executes Granin's men one by one, takes Emma away,
And then he turns the gun on us and pulls the trigger.
Well, what are you standing around for? The Legion's trying to take the hotel. Get down there and stop those bastards. Not you, no. You take the bodies down to the graveyard. I don't want them here.
We wander the Valley of the Shadow of Death for a while before waking up outside in a pile of corpses. Turns out that while Cianci was fighting us off, He was also fighting off the main Legion force, and the reason that we even had a chance against his massive army was because of that main Legion force. Even though he is powerful beyond belief, the whole situation must have rattled him enough that his aim wasn't completely steady,
and that's why we survived somehow.
Turns out the other half of Granon's force that stayed outside and cleaned up the perimeter is still standing, and together with them we rescue Emma and assault Cianci's hotel once again. Kill all his lieutenants now that they are gathered, which includes high-ranking NCR members, before we once again
confront him and then kill him.
Back at Granon's hideout, Emma bids us farewell as she needs to go wander the waste for a bit and deal with what happened. We found out during the Cianci confrontation that her father wasn't a good man apparently, and he was quite complicit in Cianci's crimes, at least for a while. She promises that she will be back, and
guess we'll see about that in the next chapter.
Whoa. Greetings from New Reno is epic and one of the best Fallout adventures I have ever played. It doesn't quite beat Home on the Wast's epic ending, as the setup felt a little less tight because of its increased length and multiple locales. I can see what they were going for with expanding out of Vegas' lore and building up the world a bit more, but it felt 20% too much. But if I look at it more objectively and disregard my feelings a bit, I think it's technically better than Home on the Wastes. The Overlook Hotel is impressive, the new armors are impressive, the story is better and more stylish, it features that bit in the whorehouse where you are trapped and that's brilliant, and the whole valley in the shadow of death is just wow. But still, the joy of playing it is not as joyous as playing Home on the Wastes, but it's pretty close and therefore
my rankings are as such.
Number 1, Old World Blues. Number 2, Home on the Wastes. Number 3, Greeting from New Reno. Number 4, Lonesome Road. Number 5, Beyond Boulder Dome. I feel comfortable with that. Beyond Boulder is impressive, but I think this features just as much new world space as that one. And it features completely new gameplay elements, which is what I have praised the official expansion for. And it needs to get credit for that. And it earns a higher spot because of it.
And I guess this is it for this video. In the next one, we'll play the sequel to this mod, and I'm excited to see if we are gonna see any consequences of any of the actions we have done or taken or all that in the previous 2 mods. That's gonna be fun. You know, we already saw some tiny tidbits here and there in this mod that referenced and picked up on stuff in Home on the Wastes. But there hasn't really been any consequences as of yet. But, you know, maybe in the next mod. That's gonna be exciting. Until next time, bye-bye.